ride white horses and ladies by the score, all dressed in satin and waiting by the door. Ooh, what a lucky man he was. Ooh, what a lucky man he was.
There it is. The opening we've been searching for. Finally.
We got it.
I've been waiting for you to do that off the top this whole time. The trick was to make sure you're full of nuts kombucha and sweet chili heat Doritos.
Nuts.
Nuts to you, laddie. Nuts to your ma.
Aye, lad, what'd you have for breakfast?
Nuts.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Nuts. Nuts.
Do the British have a funny word for farts?
Oh, they must. They certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly. We don't know, though. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember...
I boofed. I did a boof.
I did a buff. Yeah, it probably is something like that, isn't it? I did a buff, Mum.
Mum.
I'm sorry, Mum. When I was growing up, my cousins on my dad's side, their parents didn't want them to say fart or something.
It's obscene.
Because the word itself was too harsh.
Sure.
So they told their kids to call farts bum gas, which is like one of those...
Yeah, way better.
Yeah, one of those kind of baby talk, like whatever softenings. This is what we're really about at this podcast. The softening of language has turned us all into absolute fools. So we're going to go through all of the bad words in this episode.
Yeah.
But that is funny. That kind of like, I think there's an old Patton Oswalt bit about that. But like the kind of like baby talk censorship of certain naughty words, and the replacement is so much more perverse.
Yeah.
Like calling something a fart is like, okay, it's a fart, whatever. It's profane. But calling it bum gas, I mean, that's like pathologically like quite interesting, Anyway, I hope they're listening.
Bum gas sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
Oh, the room's filling with bum gas.
Room's filling with, In 30 minutes, Mr. Bond, the room will fill with bum gas.
Yeah, she committed suicide. She
Sylvia Plath put her head in the oven filled with bum gas.
Yeah. Terrible.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back. And we watched, for this movie podcast, a movie.
Yep.
Called
Scummy Man.
Oh, Scummy Man.
Old Scummy Man.
Old Scummy Man. We have to do the Canadian remake.
He's all right, old scummy man.
He's he's an old scummy man is what he is. You, Mr. Bond, you got 5 minutes
Him and
before
his
the
bum
room
gas.
fills with bum gas.
You, Mr. Bond.
You, Mr. Bond, you're a scummy man. Yeah, he's James Bond's.
You fascist working for the Queen. Killing in the Queen's name.
His most devious villain yet is just like an EastEnder. Yeah. You're a scummy man, old Mr. Bond. Yeah, no, what's that thing Jordan was talking about? Oh God! Oh, when Prince Andrew and all the Epstein stuff. Yeah. When the Queen died, and they're televising the like funeral march or whatever, the like procession of cars or whatever as they're going, and there's in the video, one of the videos, there I for sure brought this up on the show before. Sorry, Jordan, but there's a guy who you can hear saying Prince Andrew. What does he say? He says like, "You're a bad man.
You're an evil man."
Or something like that, right? You remember that?
I do. Yeah. Jordan. I wonder what that guy's up to.
We're gonna have him back in the show.
Well, I don't know about that. I wouldn't go that far.
What? We're gonna have him back, and I'm gonna put this out there in the universe. We're having Jordan back on the next
point in 2025
on the next series.
Oh,
whatever it is.
Okay.
We haven't come up with it yet, but whatever it is, we'll have him back. I promise.
Jordan, I hope you're ready to watch Grown Ups and Grown Ups 2.
All right. I hope you're ready to watch Baby Geniuses.
How many of those did they make?
Oh, at least 2, but probably more. There's got to be more. There's spin-offs. Like there's like Space Babies.
Baby Dumbasses.
Yeah. They made the babies stupider than the average
normal
baby.
babies. Yeah. They're just bonking into walls.
Yeah. They're voting conservative.
Sticking their fingers in electrical outlets. Baby dumbasses.
Baby, that's actually a really good idea for a movie.
Yeah, baby morons.
Because, Baby Geniuses, like, that's a while ago. But Boss Baby, that's pretty recent, all things
crazy
considered.
movie.
And that's basically like Baby Genius, He's a genius in the field of business, at least.
Yeah, he's a corporate genius.
But, he's a smart talking, adult brain having baby.
Sure.
So Baby Dumbasses, I mean, that really could be good for the culture, I think.
I'm surprised they haven't gone for it yet.
Stupid Babies, the movie.
Baby morons.
Baby morons. Yeah. I don't know. I think you're really onto something.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Copyright.
Oh, lucky man. You're a lucky scummy man.
You're a scummy man, Mick Travis.
You're a scummy man, Mick Travis, but then you had a bath and now you're a lucky man. You're clean. I promise we won't just do that voice the whole time, but a lot.
Just 65 to
certainly
70%
a lot
of the time.
Similar to how this Planters mixed nuts is 60% peanuts. That the cheap and dirtiest nut.
Peanut?
Yeah. We will indeed be doing the voice a lot. But that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to this, like, I'm sure you're fine with that. You've been through worse.
Oh, definitely.
We put you through worse.
Definitely. Slappy Pappy, Ingmar Bergman.
Slappy Pappy.
I think we peaked.
Get her looking up and take her to the beach tree dance. I say, we'll get scummed up. We'll take him to the nut tree dance. Terrible show.
So what's in the news these days?
What's in the news these days?
Actually, today, the day of our recording, they announced the Oscar nominations.
Whoa.
And
that's huge.
I think I'm going to be skipping this year's Oscars.
Oh, yeah. Is that because the movies they nominated are bad?
Maybe not. I haven't seen a chunk of them.
Yeah.
But they seem very boring,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are. It's not a great year. Like, people will be like, oh, it's not a good year for movies, or oh, it was a really good year for movies, blah, blah, blah.
But there was better than that.
There's just so many movies that could
Your favorite movie, Amelia Perez, most nominations.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
Penis to vagina.
Yes.
Yes. I saw Amelia Perez in the movie theater like a good cinephile boy because I knew that it was going to be an awards contender. I did not, however, know at the time that it would be the leading awards.
Sure.
With it says here 13 nominations.
That's like Return of the King numbers.
Yes. In fact, actually, you know what? Somebody shared this. So I think 13 nominations is the second most nominations a film has ever received.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if it puts it. I think Return of the King might have been one of the ones that got to 14.
Oh.
14 is the limit.
Wow.
Not the limit, but that's how many.
Because Return of the King swept, so it was also nominated and won all of them.
It didn't win. Did it win every category?
I thought it did.
No, you did. It won every category it was nominated in. Okay, maybe it's not. Don't take my word for it. But I know that one of the Lord of the Rings films is in the 13 nomination category.
Sure.
It may have been the first one. It may have been the third one.
God, those movies are
But
good.
something like somebody shared this, like the movies that for like 13, we got like Forrest Gump, we got like Gone with the Wind, big epic classics. The thing is though, whoever was sharing that, or one of the people sharing that was like, you look at all these great movies, and then we have Amelia Perez. But within that 13 nominations, like Forrest Gump is an Amelia Perez adjacent movie. It's a better movie than Amelia Perez.
I know what you mean.
But
Forrest Gump, as silly as the movie is, and as
stupid as stupid does.
Stupid as a stupid does, and people cinephiles like Ben love to turn their nose up at it.
I love Forrest Gump. I just think it's
a hugely like populist movie. People love Forrest Gump. Like
I love Forrest Gump,
but not in any kind of not in any like ironic way.
Forrest Gump. My fingertip. Well, you know that song?
No.
Forrest Gump.
Oh, Frank Ocean.
You're on my mind.
Oh, whatever happened to Frank Ocean?
I don't know.
He's a scummy man. You're a scummy man, Frank Ocean.
I don't think so. I think he's a talented and I would say also sensitive artist, and maybe that's why his output is not at the levels of other artists.
I prefer Gary Lake.
Who?
Gary Lake.
Who's Gary Lake?
Frank Ocean, Gary Lake.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
John would have been better. Because, Frank, John. Oh, Gary's good, though.
Frank's not as ubiquitous as John.
As John?
Yeah.
John Lake. Very good. Great. Really high quality riffs. Forrest Gump.
Right out the bat. I'm just kind of shocked that in the best original, because I'm a big writing boy, and best original screenplay, no love for our friend of the pod, Celine Song's True Love, Justin K.
Yes.
Like Challengers.
No, nothing for Challengers.
Nothing for Challengers.
Not even original score.
Not even original score, but original screenplay. That script was like a lot of fun. It was,
yes.
It was very good. It had motifs and themes.
Well, here, let me just illustrate this. I'm looking at
you're gonna
the
piss
best.
me off.
No. I'm looking at the best picture nominees right now. You're going to agree with me on this. I'm looking at them. Okay.
Honora's good. Fuck you.
No. Here's the deal. Okay, here's the deal. Out of the 10 nominations, there are still 4 I need to see. I haven't seen A Complete Unknown, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, or Wicked. Nickel Boys just came out here.
Yeah.
And same with I'm Still Here. That's going to play here in like a week or something. Wicked, I've been putting off. I will see it.
Yeah.
Complete Unknown, I've been putting off a bit too. But I will see all of these. Which one?
I'm waiting for a flight to watch A Complete Unknown. Like next time I'm on a plane.
Oh yeah, of course. I understand. Yeah, it seems like a great plane movie, or maybe like an afternoon movie. When you're hungover or something, right?
Maybe.
Something you watch out of a set and setting. If you're in a plane, for example.
Sure.
And you can't go anywhere. Okay, so aside from those that I've mentioned, the other nominees are Honora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, and The Substance.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say Challengers is better than all those movies.
I would actually agree with you. Yes.
Yeah.
I like
just as an example. Yeah. Now, of course, there are many movies released this year that are better than all those movies.
But in terms of big movies, you would have thought would get something.
Something that could conceivably get an Oscar.
Yeah, the Zendaya threesome movie.
Yeah,
tennis movie. Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's part of like release date 2. It was released earlier. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just like not something they considered as like a serious.
I know
movie.
People say that like you
know.
release it closer to the window.
Yeah,
get
sometimes,
the nominations,
not always.
But it's shocking to see it in action to this extent,
Well, yeah, this is
read out best
rough.
original screenplay.
Oh yeah,
get my blood boiling.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Live action short. That's what you wanted, right?
Sound of Fear.
Sound of Fear. Yeah, I actually was I was snubbed for Cherub Best Actor, but it's a let me just take a look at that for a second. Okay,
because it's crazy because Nico was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Cherub
for his role as sauna patron.
Yeah,
yeah. Best bod. Nico is going to win the inaugural Best Bod Oscar.
They're going real MTV with it this year.
Yeah. Best Kiss. All right, actor in a leading role: Adrian Brody, The Brutalist; Timothy Chalamet, A Complete Unknown; Coleman Domingo, Sing Sing; Ralph Fiennes, Conclave; and Sebastian Stan, The Apprentice. I have not seen, again, Complete Unknown. I haven't seen Sing Sing. So excluding those 2 performances, and normally another person would say this to make it make sense. I'm not so vain. Okay, I just think. Okay, sorry. Let me just say it. My performance in Cherub is better than all of these performances.
I would agree.
Yeah, thank you.
And to the naysayers, I'd say Ben didn't need to AI enhance your voice.
My Hungarian accent.
Your Hungarian accent.
You're right.
Because the character in Cherub did have a Hungarian accent.
Yeah, he just doesn't speak. Yeah, yeah. Now people would say
he was Hungarian.
People would say, okay, you're not going to get your Cherub is not going to get nominated for an Oscar for a number of reasons. Chiefly, it is not released. It's not actually put out into theaters like a movie.
That too.
It doesn't meet any of the qualifications. Okay, and to that I say, up yours. Stuff it. Seriously, go fuck yourself. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the Academy needs to broaden their scope to include unreleased movies that have been seen by under 1,000 people. And
dozens of people.
And until they do that, I don't think it's legitimate. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a legitimate institution.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
All right, here, let me get your blood boiling. We're going to look at the best original screenplay. Where do they put that? Did they put it all the way at the bottom?
Where we belong.
Make any sense. Here you go. Writing original screenplay.
Okay.
Honora.
Sure.
Okay, you like that. The Brutalist. A Real Pain. September 5. And The Substance.
So the only one I haven't seen out of those is September 5.
Yeah.
Which I don't think I'm going to go see.
No. Also, very funny that it was not the Oscars juggernaut that some bloggers were anticipating.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, I think September. I think writing is pretty much all it got. It didn't get into the Best Picture thing, so
I didn't know it was like that.
Maybe I'm
that
just,
much of a favorite.
Maybe I'm just reading hype too much. All right.
Okay,
you're
but
right.
out of those,
Yeah.
like, what would you even give it to? Like, Nora. Like, Challengers is a better script than all of those, but out of those, like, you can't. I don't think you can give it to The Brutalist. It's too uneven.
Yeah, and I mean, I didn't really like A Real Pain that much. Although my instinct would be to give it to something like that over all of these other dumb movies, like something kind of that was small and human and involves a lot of difficult conversations.
Sure.
Yeah. But I don't like that movie that much. I don't like Anora that much either. I guess I would give it to. I guess I'd have to give it to Anora though.
Yeah.
Fuck, I don't know. I don't know. I don't like The Substance either.
They snubbed Justin K.
That's a tough year. This is a tough year.
Do you know how
Oscars,
badly I wanted Justin
Holy
K
moly.
to win an Academy Award so I could look Sam in the eye and be like, your ex-girlfriend is dating an Academy Award-winning writer.
I mean, you already have so much you can make fun of. I mean, she's already an Academy Award nominated
herself,
and
but
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Just add more and more insult to injury. Though he's not injured or anything, he's fine.
No, and they're on good terms, right?
I doubt they've
we know.
spoken in years.
That's what I mean. But they don't hate each other.
I don't think she has a restraining order against him. That we
That's
know
what
of.
I mean.
That
That's
we
what I
know
mean.
of.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is a tough year. Like,
it wasn't that tough, was it?
No. I'm just saying, like, I'm just looking at them and I'm like, there's usually a movie I care about. Okay, here's the thing for Best Picture. Nickel Boys is probably going to end up being the best of these. I say end up because I haven't seen it yet, but from all accounts, it's a really great movie.
People are liking
and something that I think pushes the form in a way that I can't imagine any of the rest of these do.
What in what way does it push the form? I don't actually know anything about it.
Well, I haven't seen it yet, so maybe we should just wait and see.
So maybe it doesn't push the form at all.
Maybe it doesn't, but I'm pretty sure it does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I just know there's large sections that are shot in like point of view, like Enter the Void
Or Peep Show.
or Peep Show. Yeah, so I've heard people say it looks like Peep Show,
That's
but we'll
funny.
see. I don't know. I'm just curious, and I do think that'll end up being probably my pick for the best of the bunch. As far as what's going to win, do you have any like predictions for picture or actor or anything interesting?
No. I think
No?
because the nominees were so uninteresting themselves
Yeah, it's
that
like, who gives a shit?
I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, I know I also like Dune 2 more than you, but like I didn't even think
Dune 2's pretty good.
Dune
Yeah.
2's pretty good, but
Yeah.
I didn't even think it was the best like orange desert movie of the year. I thought that was Furiosa,
Yeah,
So,
yeah, true.
like
true.
if you put a gun to my head and were like, which movie did you enjoy watching more, Dune 2 or Furiosa? I'm going with Furiosa.
Oh, same. Yeah, hands down, easily. A lot of times, movies that get a lot of nominations, it does not necessarily mean they're going to win everything, but it would be really funny if Amelia Perez did a sweep because
I need to watch it.
it's, well, I mean, yeah, you do need to watch it. You need to watch it. You should be in on this for sure. By the time I watched it in theaters, I had already heard the good and the bad. But now, I mean, you've seen the clip, right? Every that goes around. I mean, you're kind of
I know what I'm looking for.
predisposed to not like it.
I would have
However,
actually loved to watch it blind. you
well,
know?
that's the thing. I don't think, because you don't really know anything else too much else about it, right?
Not really.
I don't think all of this chatter ahead of time is really going to impact how you feel about it.
Oh, okay.
Because it really genuinely is just like not a good movie.
Okay.
It's not just
Like Joker
it's not
2.
just hype or fuss or this or that. It's not even that. It's not even certain things about the movie that are like offensive. I mean, that's definitely a big part of why it's awful. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that even aside from that, it's really, really like a bad movie, like a tough sit, because the music is terrible. It looks like garbage, and the story it tells, the characters, it's just like ludicrous.
Okay.
It's like the kind of thing that anybody with a thought in their head would have in the pre-production process would have said, Jacques, baby, you should not make this.
Jacques Bébé.
Jacques, bébé. Don't make this movie. Do something else with your time and your money. It's just so funny. A lot of these big Oscar movies that suck, your typical like Oscar bait sort of nominee Timothée Chalamet. Your typical sort of Oscar bait. I haven't seen Complete Unknown, but let's use that as an example.
Yeah.
Probably not terrible, not necessarily good. Is something that the majority of people can see and be like, that was a good movie. But it's been, is it really like, no. That's your typical like bad Oscar movie. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Amelia Perez is so much worse than that, and that it's been widely embraced by people like people like this, like people who vote for the Oscars, is so funny, and I think speaks to just this level of like thoughtlessness and stupidity.
Sure.
That. I mean, we don't have to tell you is what Hollywood is, right? But I can just see people like Oscar voter people, whatever, watching it and being like, wow, like, this is so great. And this is such an important movie that says important things, about the trans Mexican experience. And we should reward it with everything, and meanwhile, you watch the actual movie itself and it's like so stupid. It's so silly. I just
Jacques Bébé.
I just can't believe,
Ne réalise pas ce film.
Yeah, exactly.
Joker 2 also got snubbed.
It did.
No Oscar for Joaquin this year.
No
Oscar for Lady Gaga, unfortunately.
Unfortunately not. Yeah. Actress in a leading role, Cynthia Erivo, Carla Sofia Gascon, Mikey Madison, Demi Moore, Fernanda Torres. Okay. If there's one thing about Amelia Perez that is like not, I wouldn't say good, but maybe less bad than the other things, I think Carla Sofia Gascon is like not terrible in it.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Even though in a role that is like very, very tricky and also includes some of the really offensive aspects of the movie, in particular some of the, I guess, I don't know, brown face adjacent, like sort of, well, I don't know. You'll just have to, you just see it. Just enjoy the film for what it is.
Eventually.
Well, I don't think there's really anything else that's worth talking about, right?
Dud year.
Yeah, boring. Just boring. Sebastian Stan, Donald Trump movie he's not bad in the movie, but he's way better in A Different Man.
No noms for Gladiator 2.
No, yeah.
That must have hurt.
What a shame,
Ridley.
Yeah. Isabella Rossellini, Best Supporting Actress. First nomination, which I think is crazy. But if in Conclave, she's in it for like 4 minutes.
It's the nomination she deserves.
Yeah, it's the kind of like, it's a career retrospective, right?
No, she deserved it for Conclave, nothing else.
Yeah, this is bad.
Boring, just boring. Boring and uninteresting. But I like Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, I'm happy he'll be in it.
He's funny.
Yeah, that's good.
And there'll probably be some kind of pretty cringe anti-Trump posturing,
Oh yeah, I always
People
love that,
out.
Right? Yeah, can't wait. You think there's going to be 4 years of that?
Maybe.
I wonder.
You think there's going to be a slap?
No. No, there's not going to be a slap. I don't think so. I think the much talked about post-election vibe shift is already happening. So by the time the Oscars roll up, everyone's going to be openly pro-Trump. Everyone's going to be hitting the Elon Musk Nazi dab salute. Everyone's, the whole thing is just.
My heart goes out to you.
My heart goes out to you. Mein Heart goes out to you. Right? Sorry, Germans, but it's I mean, sorry, not sorry. Yeah.
It's going to catch on. Like it's going to be the new dap. Dapping someone up. You're going to be like, mein Heart goes out to you. I liebe dich.
Yeah. Mein Heart goes out to you. That was crazy, eh? I mean,
it was.
I caught some of that on the break room TV at work.
Yeah.
And like, oh my God, it's funny.
Did you know you could watch the entire 14 hours of Trump's inauguration on Disney Plus?
That's great.
Yeah, it's really funny.
That's a good use of the platform. Yeah,
man.
Yeah, that's what you pay top dollar for. Yeah. Yeah.
It's Disney. It's family fun for the whole family.
Yeah.
Family fun for the whole family.
This is what I'm talking about. This is the vibe shift, you know?
Yeah.
It is, it's going to be 4 years of people who may have been a little on the fence or perhaps masquerading as maybe more into the Democrats than they thought they would. And then the mask comes off, you know? It's time for Nazi salutes on live TV. And he did it twice. he
turned around and
he turned
did it to
around
the
and did it to the
flag?
back. There were people sitting back there, weren't there?
I
think
don't know.
so. Or maybe the flag. That's even worse. Oh God.
He's possibly the weirdest person on the planet at the moment because he's in this position of insane power. He's the wealthiest man in the world, and he's lying about his status in Diablo 4 as well. Like it's,
No.
you can't get weirder, I don't think.
There is a great tweet from Grimes, which is a sentence I hope never to say again, where she was like, I just want to clear things up about my husband. And she talked about how he is actually really good at video games and like did beat all of them and all this. It was really funny. And then Elon tweets or like commented on it and he's like, thanks honey, or whatever. I don't know. Fucking so bad. Yeah. We
live in a broken world, truly.
We do. We live in a broken world, not unlike 70s Britain, portrayed in the film Oh Lucky Man.
Good segue.
But we'll get to that.
Actually, we won't, because the film Oh Lucky Man, unfortunately, contains some blackface in it, and I'm pleading, past and future guest Ben B.
Oh.
And I'm not going to engage with the film, so you can talk about it with yourself.
Oh, okay. Oh, geez. I got a lot of time to fill. I guess I could just monologue about it. Okay, well... first, we'll do the weekly movie roundup.
Okay, yeah, I can talk about that.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, so let's see what I watched here. Let's see the Amos and Andy show. Can you engage about that? No?
No.
Oh, okay. Shoot, what else do we have here? Tropic Thunder. Yeah. Can you engage with that?
I like Justin Theroux. He wrote it, didn't he? He was one of the writers.
Yeah. Okay, changing the subject. What have you watched? Have you seen anything?
Yeah. I've seen a couple things.
All right, great.
I watched Red Rooms.
Oh,
after you mentioned it.
Speaking of a movie of our age, you know.
Yeah, and I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved
it's good. It's good.
Let me tell you, this Ben guy, you know your recommendations. You know?
Yeah, I knew you'd like it.
I went in completely blind and was just.
You got to open your eyes to see the movie, Alex.
That's why I was.
I
was practicing my French.
You thought it was a
subtitles.
daring experimental audio track only film.
Yeah, something like the Flaming Lips would have done.
Goofball.
Good score though. Speaking of the music,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I would just recommend kind of doing like I did, and if you don't know much about it, go in blind.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
Yeah.
It's disturbing, but not in. I think most people would be able to handle it. It's just
for sure,
in terms of the themes and the subject matter it kind of tackles. It's the logical kind of conclusion endpoint of this kind of the like white woman into true crime podcast like character. You know what I mean? Like Kellyanne is the terminus of that. I didn't know where it was going really, and I was like, oh, is it going to be a conspiracy or whatever? Like. But it's kind of simpler than that, but it's still just really satisfying and effective. The Quebecois are nuts. Yeah,
it's good. It's a movie that I think will change my life because I saw the performance of the lead actress. What's her name? Julie Garipay or something?
Yes,
right. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it,
Gallipoli.
But her character is so weird. And I saw a version of myself in her that I could become, you know, like if I work out, like to the YouTube videos she does, right? If I got like an AI assistant, you know, if I got really good at online poker.
And we're a model.
Yeah, I could get into modeling, probably ass modeling maybe I could do, or maybe like small penis modeling, right? If
ass modeling?
I could probably model my ass, as like a before. The before ass, and then when you work out, your ass is plump, you know.
That's a funny movie idea. Someone who works as like a before model in photos or something, and they become obsessed with.
It's not a movie, Alex. It's my life.
Sorry.
Your
life is a movie, though.
My life a movie. It's true. Yeah. No, Red Rooms is good. It's good. It's. I don't know if I like the ending quite as much as the rest of the movie. I know it's not as like tidy as it might be able to be read as, but yeah, I don't know. It's that's the only part that's a little unsatisfying, I would say.
Oh.
But we shan't get into it.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that off mic because I'm curious what was sticking out in your.
Yeah, I don't know though. I'm gonna watch it again probably soon. I'd like to show it to some people because it's fun. That's the thing. It's as twisted as it is. It's like very enjoyable.
Controversial that they choose to use real snuff videos in there. Controversial choice.
I was gonna beat them to it. I
in
was
your ass modeling movie.
Yeah. I was going to include in my 3-hour epic that's going to be based on my life. I was going to include footage of me killing a man, just to kind of you got to hook people.
Oh yeah.
You got to. I'm snapping. You can hear it.
Yep.
You gotta get people in.
Yep.
You got to keep them in. You got to keep them on the edge of the seat.
And 3-hour movies are all the rage now. Brutalist,
Yes.
Oh Lucky
Man.
From 40 years ago.
Fiddler on the Roof I watched recently.
50
That's
years
long.
ago.
Yeah.
And then I watched, Ben invited me to go see the Canadian premiere.
The two greatest words in the English language: Canadian premiere, the glitz, the glamour. They rolled out the red carpet.
The new wave of Dime Square Cinema.
I'm so sorry.
Masterpiece. www.rachelormont.com. Directed by Peter Vack, who I didn't realize. Are we booing him?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I didn't.
That wasn't me. That's the
live
studio
audience. Yeah.
Hey, fuck you, Peter. Sorry, I can't. All right, settle down, guys. That's enough. Okay, that's enough.
Who I didn't realize was the Master of Cum. That was his alias on Instagram because I followed him. He must have posted something funny at some point. But so. www.rachelormont.com. I ended up going Ben flaked out on me at the last minute.
I'm sorry.
Bad friend, but my friend Max came with me because he's a trooper.
Yes.
And apparently Catherine was there, though I didn't see her, which is very upsetting.
Yes. Yeah. Catherine was there too. And I also sort of did the same thing with her that I did with you, where I was like, hey, are you going to go see this movie? And she's like, oh, maybe not. And then I just didn't go. So sorry.
You just chew us up and you spit us out.
I'm a bad flake sometimes, but I assure you, I stayed home and masturbated for hours. So I got something done.
Like not a dissimilar experience, to be honest.
That's what I'm hearing.
For those of you who aren't like familiar with Dime Square, it's kind of the word for that post-ironic hipster dumb that's kind of turned conservative.
Yeah, Peter Thiel funded like rich kids cosplaying as New York artists.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Adopting like very internet, looks and mannerisms and stuff. And this movie stars, one of the torchbearers of the Dime Square scene, Dasha Nekrasova.
Right. Our podcasting peer.
Yes, friend of the pod.
Yeah, friend of the pod.
Euphoria star Chloe Cherry, who I didn't know who she was till Ben told me about her. I had to, catch up on her filmography.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Oh, I did.
That's great.
And then the Peter Vack sister, Betsy Brown.
Yes.
And there's aspects of it that I truly admired, and I'm kind of here for a very deep fried, memey, brain rotted movie. I want a movie that kind of does a surrealist, satirical approach of this kind of brain rotted, doom scrolling state that we kind of find ourselves in. It was clearly like very meme savvy. At one point it's very self-referential and metatextual where they drop names like Dime Square itself and reference all this like internet. Like Dasha references like actual criticisms that people probably lobbed at her.
Yeah, like that Mike Crumpler guy. Did they bring him up?
I don't know. I don't know.
This is too much. I'm sorry for saying all these words on the podcast, like Dasha and Mike Crumpler and Peter Vack and so on. But these are bad words.
I feel like part of the issue with something like this is that you'll never be, because it takes longer to make a movie, you can't be as up to date as possible, you know, with the latest like
Yeah,
meme internet
yeah.
trends and stuff. Like really, if it were to do that, there should have been jokes in there at the expense of the Rizzler and Cousin Angela. Do you know what I mean?
That's your internet.
That's yeah. But it's kind of like in the same sphere. And I'm not against this movie in theory, or do I object to its content, which is very kind of trying to shock you a bit. It's a bit edgelordy, you know. There's unsimulated graphic sex on screen. There's pissing on camera. Any movie that has that kind of stuff, I'm here for and I give points to. But I just don't think it pulled it off in a way that works entirely. And if you're going to kind of satirize this world and this aspect of ourselves where we're just, you know, consuming people who are trying to make content, who are just becoming living, walking ads, fueling this machine, I think it's got to be smarter or more interesting or funnier of a time than I would have had just sitting at home scrolling through my cursed algorithm, which already has breastfeeding, like eroticized breastfeeding and piss content and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I could have had a better time sitting at home just scrolling for an hour and 20 minutes and thinking about how fucked up this is, and that I'm doing this, and that this is what I'm being served, and that this is on social media and the state of the world, then I would have had watching the movie. But like Betsy Brown does some crazy stuff. There's some ideas in there that I'm not totally against. There's also some like really edgelordy stuff that I would have loved that if you came to get your take on it all.
Yeah, like what?
Oh, you know, some language choices, and then like chastising the audience like directly if they're upset with some of those language choices. And at one point I think Dasha is wearing kind of like an SS uniform.
Oh, she does that. Yeah, she does like to do that.
It's you know, that there were crumbs in there of things that I was interested in. And I think this Peter Vack guy has a great movie in him.
Keep trying.
Maybe.
Yeah, you know, who knows? I don't know.
But you know what? Like, and I mean this as
I haven't
a
seen
compliment.
any of his movies. Yeah.
Neither have I, besides this one.
Yeah.
So I have one up on you. Fuck you, Ben. But I will say this: it's a genuine head scratcher, and I mean that as a compliment.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I would say a positive review overall.
And I just want to give a shout out to the Bleeding Edge. I don't know if they're a collective or something. Thank you for bringing movies like this to Toronto. The city is in desperate need of it. Why are you laughing?
Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry.
I don't know anymore.
I like those guys, and I hope they keep doing it.
I mean, they brought the Kaveh Zahedi movies that we...
Yeah, they did.
brought Kaveh Zahedi himself.
They brought the man himself.
Yeah.
And those were interesting movies.
Yeah.
That was one of the most interesting screening experiences I had last year, easily.
Absolutely,
So I don't know. There's a whole world of cinema out there for us to explore.
Tell me of some of the world you've been exploring.
Well,
recently.
I rewatched Lost Highway.
Oh yeah,
Didn't
I love
I?
that movie.
Yeah. It was good. It's always good to. I mean, I've seen it so many times, but
It kind of really feels like an amuse-bouche to Mulholland Drive for me.
yeah, it is. It is.
It's different in like very major ways, but it feels like he's trying things out that came to a head in a more cohesive or satisfying way for me in Mulholland Drive.
Yeah, I think Mulholland Drive is a much better movie, and it's funny that it came about the way that it did, like as a pilot,
yeah.
and then a lot of the elements of it that are more similar to something like Lost Highway came after the fact, right?
Yeah.
But
One trick pony, this guy Lynch.
well, yeah, and we can say it. We can say it now. I think Lost Highway. I mean, it's one of his major films. I don't think. Well, as we'll get to on our David Lynch episode, but they're all kind of good,
Yeah.
And I think it really is great, but it's one that I personally like less than others, I guess.
Sure.
But there's something. Oh, it's just so.
It's got amazing
It's so spellbinding.
moments.
Yeah.
But the moments between those moments are less engaging to me than in Mulholland Drive, where literally scene by scene, I'm like having the best time of my life.
Yeah, it's a different vibe. Like as similar as the movies are, it's
a bleaker vibe.
It is, and I think too, there's something that feels kind of timeless about Mulholland Drive.
Yeah.
Whereas.
Feels pretty 90s.
Yeah, whereas Lost Highway is very, very much in that time and place.
Yeah.
Not to see that, but that's a feature, not a bug. Like
yeah.
When you're watching the movie and you hear Marilyn Manson on the soundtrack, and there's some fucked up shit going on, like it really fits. It really fits.
It's a good time.
Yeah, it is a good time. And also, I was thinking. I mean, this time, I guess I don't know to what extent. This is my own narrative I'm making up, but it really does feel like he's taking the piss out of Tarantino in this one.
Oh, interesting.
A bit, yeah. Just certain things. Some of the gangster stuff, with Mr. Eddie and whatever. Like,
oh, that stuff's so funny.
It's so funny, yeah. Never don't fucking tailgate.
Yeah.
Do you know how many car lengths you need to stop? Yeah, it's good. Anyway, whatever. It's Lost Highway. We eulogized David Lynch in the last episode.
I can't drive down a highway where the traffic lines are just illuminated by headlights without thinking of Lost Highway.
Yeah.
And Bill Pullman just fucking freaking out and contorting. Yeah.
And David Bowie's I'm Deranged.
Yeah.
Such a good song. I'm deranged.
Just like that. Just like that.
Dun 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 dun. Oh, it's good. It just goes too. And then it loops back around. Oh, love it. The Mobius strip.
It is a Mobius strip. I
do love it. Anyway,
Dick Laurent is dead.
Yeah. Oh God, all that stuff in the first part with his the first sex scene they have, him and Patricia Arquette, where he can't perform, and she gives him the pat on the back, and it's like so loud, they're like thudding, like dum dum. Oh, it's so good. Rest in peace. We love you in your movies, and
forever.
Next, I don't know. I should just watch Mulholland Drive. I guess I'm kind of waiting, maybe to watch it with people. Like maybe we should try to hold a Mulholland Drive night or something. That'd be nice.
I'd always be down for that.
That one seems like we should share it with others.
Fave movie.
Yeah.
Ideally, the people who haven't seen it, if those people still exist.
I think there are some.
Oh wow.
There are some out there.
Losers.
And then I watched some other junk. I don't need to talk to you about.
Rattle them off quick.
Congo.
Okay, maybe not.
See, that's what I'm telling you. That's exactly why I told you.
What'd you think of Congo?
Oh, it's not very good.
Okay.
It's not very good. Otto Preminger's Skidoo.
Okay.
But you never heard about that?
No, I haven't. What is
Skidoo?
it?
Is crazy. So Otto Preminger, I watched Advise and Consent.
Oh, yes,
before. Like we talked about that last week, and he's a great director of like film noir, like Laura, and a lot of his movies that would push the boundary in terms of certain subject matter or language that would be used. Like Peter Vack, like he was sort of the Peter Vack of his day.
Sure.
Except talented. Just kidding. Just kidding. We don't know. We should watch Assholes.
Peter Vack, come on the show.
Peter Vack,
come on the pod.
We would love to have you.
You know what?
Would you have him on the show?
You know who I want on the show? The woman, I forget her name, but she just followed me on Letterboxd. I liked her review.
Yes.
Who wrote the incredibly long 5-star review of www.rachelormond.com. It's one of the best reviews I've ever read on Letterboxd.
Yeah. But it's also like out there.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
New Letterboxd friend, come on the pod.
Come on the show. Well, you should reach out to her.
I wish you could DM people on Letterboxd.
Oh God,
I fucking wish you could.
What a nightmare. What a nightmare.
You like Mulholland Drive too?
Can we fuck? I want to fuck you. That's what it'd be. That's 100%. Like any other site.
Can we fuck? Like, I want to fuck you.
Well, yeah. It'd be like that tweet. You know the tweet where it's like you're a girl and you like silver Jews? You're one interesting chica. It'd be like that. Yeah. It'd be like, oh my God, you like Star Wars? You're a girl! Ah! Can we go out? The Last Jedi is my favorite too. It was unfairly maligned. That's what it would be if Letterboxd, or not even with that. Even with our set, the cultural elite.
Sure.
It would be like somebody DMing somebody because they saw
Yeah, like
what's something obscure? Help me. What's something obscure?
Begotten.
Yeah, Begotten.
Hey babe, I noticed you like Begotten. You want to come over and rewatch Begotten with me?
You could never like anybody's review. You would like the review and they would DM you like, I need my dick rubbed. That's all it is. That's why they don't have it. And thank God they don't.
Yeah, I know. I'm just joking.
Yeah. You're not joking.
Yeah, I am.
You know, well, what you have to do is you have to comment under her review and say, hey, like, let's talk.
Out in the open.
I know.
Just put your number in there.
You just throw it
Be
up.
like, hey, I really like Begotten as well. Text me.
Yeah. I actually think I don't know how to say his name. Elias Merhigi or Merhagi or whatever. Meringue. Elias Meringue. I actually think his film Suspect Zero is underrated. That'd be a good way to get someone get in somebody's pants, you know.
Lovebirds.
Yeah, and then you I must digress. All right, here's a new movie for you, and then we'll move on because I'm not going to talk about all this other junk. Oh, except the remake of Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, which is one of the last Tony Scott movies I needed to see. Honestly, it's not one of his greatest, I don't think, but it is very enjoyable. John Travolta is actually giving quite an interesting performance in that, I think, which is not something I was imagining. Yeah, he's like a loser criminal, I guess, more so than the bad guys in the original movie. But he's got a really kind of desperate, manic energy in it that I thought was pretty good. You know, as a foil to Denzel's character, who is the straight man in this situation, and then also, you know, the regular working guy who gets caught up in all the hullabaloo, but, you know, gives a very like measured kind of like, you know, I was impressed. Okay. New release, Night Bitch.
Oh, okay.
Night Bitch.
Provocative name.
Pretty bad
night movies recently.
Yeah.
There was
like
the
what?
Night House. Do you remember Night House? I think it was called Night House. Night House? Do you remember Night House?
There's a movie called Night House?
I'm pretty sure there's a movie called, or it might be The Night House.
House? The Night House.
Do you remember Night House?
No.
Night Swim.
Oh, yeah, right. What if you went swimming at night? What if you
went for a swim but it wasn't light out?
What if you had a home but it was too dark to see?
What if you went for a swim in the dark?
Is that what happened in the movie?
I actually haven't seen it.
No, okay, me neither. Oh, that's the Evil Pool movie.
Yeah.
Right? Oh yeah, of course. Okay.
It's an evil pool.
Evil Pool.
That's the rough part of Liverpool.
It is. It's where the Beatles came from,
Evil
or it's where
Pool.
Ringo came from. The rest of them came from Good Pool.
Peace and love from Evil Pool.
Evil Pool. That's like a Deadpool riff.
Deadpool. That's a good movie.
Right?
Yeah.
Night Bitch, I would say, I haven't read the book. I don't read. Maybe if I read the book, I would like it more. From what I understand, the book is good, but the movie, I don't know. It's just weird. Like it doesn't really commit. I feel like it feels like instead of embracing some of the kind of more difficult Amy Adams turning into a dog type ideas, it decides maybe it would be easier to go into the kind of like girl bossing feminism style ideas, which are less interesting. And even that stuff, like, it's not really developed very well. I don't know. Amy Adams is good in it.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, it's just like kind of a dud. I don't know.
You know, it's not a good idea, Ben. I'm getting pretty sick of is all the like cussing in movie titles and TV show titles and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
like it's played out. Think of a more clever name. You know, when we were kids, there weren't movies in theaters called like Night Bitch or like Day Ass. You know, like call it. Just come up with a more clever name like Night Mom or something. Like it. Just,
right. Yeah, I agree. You're right. It should have been called Night Mom.
Yeah. Thank you.
And it should have been about how being a mother is great.
That sounds like a pleasant film.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we really solved something here. We really figured it out. Let's talk about this movie.
Well, let's you talk about this movie.
Oh, yeah, you're abstaining from the movie.
No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
I actually think this movie is possibly a masterpiece. And I'm going to tell you why the blackface in it is okay.
All right, explain.
We'll get to it.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, Oh Lucky Man picks up where we left off with Mick Travis, where he's graduated from school. No, it's a different Mick Travis. It's another representation of the British everyman.
Yeah. But it is funny to think, okay, how could this be? How could this possibly be the same guy? Because at one point, all he says is, "I got expelled from school."
Yeah.
So it'd be funny to think, like, okay, after killing like 30 people,
he was expelled for staging a rebellion.
Yeah, and then he sells out.
Maybe he necessarily didn't go to college, because you probably don't need a college education to be a coffee salesman.
That's right.
But the movie this is a very Flight of Fancy movie, as if
Yes.
was, where we open with this like silent era styled prologue where we see coffee farmers, and Malcolm McDowell plays like one of these coffee farmers.
Is it in Nicaragua? Is it specified?
I don't remember if it's specified, but it's
because
somewhere
it's
in, like,
it's
South
meant
America.
to it's meant to be like Britain's like colonial past, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where we see the Malcolm McDowell coffee farmer or he tries to steal beans or something, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately he gets punished by having his arms cut off, like kind of
They
hearkening
cut
to
his hands off. Yeah.
Yeah, the brutal colonial practices of, these major European colonist countries.
Yeah, and it does have these title cards that has like a then and now sort of thing. Because then and then it says, and then we go into a 3-hour long fantasia of
epic
British capitalism, colonialism,
like a 3-hour epic satire.
Yeah,
that takes you not like through this man's life. It's kind of if was adolescence, this is kind of more early adulthood.
Yeah, traveling through the hellscape of a modern Britain.
Yeah, if was The Wall by Pink Floyd, then I think A Lucky Man is kind of Animals, where we go through and see these different kinds of types of people in British society and all around the country at that time. So he's just kind of sent off he's a coffee salesman, and he gets sent off on a mission, and that mission kind of becomes derailed, and he ends up in all sorts of satirical, a lot of the time super funny situations. Yeah.
I've been wanting to see this for a long time. I had heard a lot about it, but I didn't really know anything about what it was about.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a movie that keeps you guessing throughout.
Mm-hmm. It's a road movie.
Yeah, it is a road movie. Like you were kind of joking, but comparing it to like the comedies, like road movie comedies like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and Harold and Kumar
Go to White Castle.
But it actually is like that.
Yeah, no, it's episodic.
If those movies had perhaps were twice as long and also had like a strong kind of anti-capitalist sentiment to them, they could be. Although they're not. Well, no,
they're
Harold
more satirical.
More satirical.
Harold and Kumar does satirize also aspects of American culture.
Harold and Kumar is good. That's a good movie.
Maybe we should do that next.
Well, no, not next.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what. Just as we promised David Lynch in 2025, we will do the Harold and Kumar movies sometime before 2030. Okay, guaranteed. Hey, this is Ben here. Perhaps if you had more literate podcast hosts, the comparisons would be to Candide or Gulliver's Travels or something like that, picaresque, and so on.
But I, similar to Roger Ebert, famously, love a good road movie. There's something so kind of pure about the storytelling. You can trace. This is where the character. Every movie is like a character's journey and arc. But with road movies, you literally trace them from. They start here and they go off to all these places, and let's see where they end up. Mm-hmm. And the thing about Mick Travis in this movie is he's less of this kind of rebellious figure, because I guess his rebellion was squashed.
Yeah.
And he was expelled. And he's more of a naive kind of opportunist, kind of becomes inundated with the tenets of capitalism, know? And it leads him on a roller coaster. There's highs, there's lows, there's a downfall. There's a resurgence.
Yeah. It's so strange because I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff that would have meant something different to us had we grown up in Britain in the 70s.
Definitely.
There's certainly some well, like if to like there's a lot of British isms that I don't think maybe either of us would have picked up on. The thing I was struck by the most is how applicable this movie is to our current mindset.
Yeah.
And by mindset, I mean grind set. It's all about selling out.
Yes.
It's about putting all of your personal objections and thoughts and feelings and politics and motivations aside to get the bag, you know?
Yeah. And that definitely, he's at the beginning, he's motivated by money. Mm-hmm. But I feel like his kind of aspirations to get more money kind of grow, and he's corrupted, but it's not like he doesn't become like a bad guy. He's just so naive that he thinks, you know, if he does this, like everything's going to go really well for him, and then he'll be able to like marry Helen Mirren and stuff like that. Yeah. He never becomes like a villain or anything. He's just naive and I don't know, like just kind of, he falls victim to the system in the end. Yeah. But he's like the ultimate go with the flow guy, you know, like he's too chill. It's funny.
It's so funny. Yeah, like to describe the plot of the movie, which we won't really do that much. Yeah. It's episodic, but in the way that like, and it feels like a lot of really good like Monty Python. It's not exactly the same type of humor, but there is a kind of like, not like sketch to sketch sort of thing, but some of their movies like that sort of flow into different sketch or like set piece sketches or whatever. It has a bit of that to it. Like, you know, at some point his coffee salesman journey is completely derailed because they send him up to Scotland and he runs into like a military base and is like, you know, taken in for questioning, tortured. and then the base just starts to like self-destruct or implode or something.
Yeah. And his like car and the coffee stores have been completely
everything's
wiped
ruined.
out.
Yeah.
But his glittery suit is like, okay. And he's able to kind of like, you know, escape in that.
He ends up in like a medical testing facility.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Right. Where they're doing hybrid human animal. You know, this movie is really out there. Like
it's all over the place, and in a good way.
Yeah, and has that same experimental sensibility to it that If does, but on a kind of broader canvas, I guess. Like it's more in a more like novelistic way, or maybe experimenting more with the story than it is with like, say, the form of the film itself.
You mentioned Louis Buñuel's like French films, and it does kind of feel like that.
It really feels like that.
Like there's obviously way more of a solid through line, but it reminded me a lot of something like The Phantom of Liberty or that obscure Object of Desire.
Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie.
Even that one.
All of those. Yeah. Those are the ones I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But there is that like through line of like following this one character, and it's still kind of grounded in like a real world, but just these like crazy things happen. Yeah. Like I don't know why the military base all of a sudden starts like, I don't know if it was attacked or something. Yeah. And then and it starts off like, you know, believable enough. Like his first place he goes to like a hotel where the guy who runs the hotel is also the mayor, invites him to a party, and it ends up just being a bunch of like British people watching pornography together, and then like a live sex show. And you're like, okay, that's funny and like absurd, but still kind of, you know, grounded in reality and stuff. But then you get to the moment where he's trying to talk to like a patient in the testing facility or something, and the patient can't talk, and he pulls back the blanket. And there's like the effect is crazy. Like it doesn't look real, but it looks awesome.
It's a man. It's a man. The head of a man on a sheep's body.
Yeah, but the sheep is like a big like burlap sack.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's an arresting image.
And it's so funny to think of all these images in this movie, and then be reminded that it's all in the same movie.
Yeah.
And then he sees the sheep man and jumps out of the window.
It kind of smash cuts to him running and jumping out of a window. He's
funny.
Perfectly all right. Yeah. There's a kind of Greek chorus that cuts to these Alan Price of the Animals, the British band, doing songs for the movie, including like a title track, "Oh Lucky Man," and a couple other songs.
Good tunes.
Very good tunes. There's one that's like, I don't know what this, the one about like poor people, and it's so funny the scenes of him like whatever learning the coffee business or something, and having that song play. And it just goes from there. Like, I mean, it's kind of pointless to get through it, but he runs off with some hippies, including the band and Helen Mirren, right? And it turns out Helen Mirren is the heiress to like a giant like developer or like industrialist, played by Ralph Richardson, who's really great in it. He takes him under his wing after his assistant is killed horribly, and that's when it really levels up the kind of like satire and first sort of returns to that sort of like neocolonialism where like he's making a deal with
forget the name of it's fake
Zarunga or something
like that.
A fictitious African nation where he wants to they're building like a hotel, right? Like a resort.
Yeah. But there's like a rebellion going on or something, an insurgents.
And so the president of the country is there, and that's the actor who's in blackface.
Which it's inexcusable. Obviously it was a different time.
Yeah.
Watching it now, I don't know if like this was the intention, but it feels like you're watching a scene that deals with like racist colonialism and evil. So it almost like makes sense to have someone in blackface there if you like intellectualize it like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like it adds to the like horror of what you're witnessing.
That's
because they're basically talking about selling the African military of that country chemicals to pour on the insurgents to quell their rebellion.
Yeah.
And they show you some pretty grisly photos of people. I imagine
are real life pictures of people
who suffered chemical warfare in other parts of the world, maybe, or something.
Yeah, and they're going through all this. They're going through this whole plan, like over champagne, of like how they're going to like destabilize this country and like kill thousands of people.
And the person going over the plan is like a German ex-Nazi war criminal,
definitely Nazi-esque guy. Yeah,
it's really like vicious satire.
Yes, it is. It is. And no, I agree. I think that's definitely what they were thinking when the other part of it too is that the movie, like Mick Travis is played by Malcolm McDowell, and then pretty much every other character or all the other characters are played by a certain kind of stable of actors who are often repeated throughout, which lends itself to the kind of surreal nature of it. And
feels like a play, right?
Yeah. And that's also, so that the guy who plays the president is in other roles too. So yeah, you can see what they were going for and how it fit into their satire, and it's certainly different than like other uses of blackface at that time. Like in Britain at that time, I was reading they still had like a minstrel show on TV.
Yeah,
like obviously it's a very different time.
It wasn't out of place in entertainment.
Well, exactly, it wasn't. But yeah, it is the kind of thing you definitely it takes away from the movie a little bit, and is pretty ugly to look at.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad. And at the time, I probably didn't cause much of a fuss. Today's standards, it is what it is, right? It's pretty heinous. I still think the movie is very successful in a lot of its aims.
It is, and if you take that within the context of this, let's look at they're obviously referring to British colonialism, racist practices historically.
Yeah.
But now we can also watch it and have, a dialogue about the racist British practices in the 70s,
Yeah.
Like you could still look at it in that continuum.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hopefully you'll hate the movie less, because I don't think you should hate this movie at all.
No, I don't. At the same time, I understand if there are people who are not going to watch something because there's blackface in it.
Yeah, it's not our business to.
No, that's more than a valid excuse not to watch a movie.
But you're missing out on a great Malcolm McDowell performance.
He is incredible in it. Yeah, it is. Oh God, the last. Okay, well, all right. just to fast forward the plot, basically he's sent to he's basically
He kind of brokers the deal. He's sent to make sure the poison gets
the
sent
poison
off,
goes on the plane.
and he signed a bunch of stuff because he becomes this guy's assistant.
Yeah, and he ends up sort of being the fall guy when
He's a patsy.
Yeah, he's a patsy. Yeah, when the authorities take over and he goes to prison for 5 years, he comes out of prison, and there's that little stretch, like 20 minutes or so. That's what was cut out of the American version, where he's trying to be reformed. He's trying to be a good man. He's trying to be my brother's keeper, sort of thing.
Yeah.
He's obviously read a lot. There's this scene in prison where he's read all the Western philosophy and everything. And
he's healing a dove.
He's healing. Yeah. Well, yeah. That's right. That's actually so funny. It's like he's got his little Birdman of Alcatraz thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he goes out into the real world in like the East End of London and is like taken advantage of a little bit and tries to stop a woman from killing herself unsuccessfully.
Yeah.
And then tries to help out the poor when he finds a woman who's giving out, soup and coffee and bread and so on to the homeless. And they kind of eat him alive a little bit as he's trying to help, and he's spouting his philosophy, and it's like, not, he's there giving out the soup, but the soup tastes like piss, one of the guys says.
Yeah. It's a really funny moment because the last time he sees Helen Mirren, she's like flirting with like someone who's the
Duke of wherever,
something or other.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, we're going to get married. Like, I'm going to become really rich through your father, and then I'll marry you and we can be together. And she kind of laughs and scoffs at his naivete. Mm-hmm. And then because all the actors are playing different roles, when he sees Helen Mirren like in the soup kitchen area, thought maybe she's playing a different character, but he's like Patricia, and she's like
that's
Michael.
The one time it's the actual the actual same character. Yeah,
and she's like, I thought you were gonna like marry the Duke of whoever, and she's like cradling a man who's like blind, drunk, and barely open his eyes, and she's like, this is the Duke of whatever.
Yeah, really good.
It was so funny.
Great bit.
Yeah.
And then the movie's basically over. He's wandering, like, looks like Piccadilly Circus maybe, or somewhere downtown flashy, like
Times Square. Dime Square.
British Dime Square, yeah. Tuppence Square. And he sees a sign that's like stars, become a star, and it's like an opening like cattle call or whatever for casting of something.
Now this really confused me.
Well, then he goes in, and it's like looks like it's like a casting call, and then the director is Lindsay Anderson, the director himself.
Yeah, I needed Ben to explain this to me because I'd never seen anything like this before.
And
I believe you called it meta.
Meta good. Yeah, that's E.T. learning about metatextuality. Meta good. Yeah, and like Lindsay Anderson picks him out of the group, and like gets him to stand in front of this like white screen. They take pictures of him and give him props, and he poses and so on. And then he tells him to smile. And this is important because at the beginning of the movie, that's one of the first things we see is like they're talking about being a salesman, a coffee salesman, and whatever. And
he had like a natural approach of a smile.
It's all about the smile
to endear people.
And they show another guy doing it, and his is kind of phony and forced. And Malcolm McDowell's is like, they say, oh, that's so sincere, but it isn't sincere because he looks incredibly insincere at the beginning.
Yeah.
He's really just trying to hustle his way up
to become a salesman.
Yeah, and then I think also we know Malcolm McDowell from Clockwork Orange at this point too, like it would have just come out, and he has that same insincere, full of shit, full of evil smile and that, right? And I don't know to what extent it's in direct conversation with that, but as an audience member, when you see him smile, you think of Alex DeLarge, right?
And there's also a few castmates from A Clockwork Orange in this as well.
Yes.
So it's hard not to think about it.
Oh yeah.
You've got Alex DeLarge's father. You've got Dim.
Yeah.
You've got I don't know who else.
There's probably a few others. Yeah.
No one.
Yeah. And but he can't smile at the end of the movie, right? He's like, there's nothing to smile about. And then Lindsay Anderson takes looks like a big folder, and he whacks him in the head. And then there's this great bit of acting, like where he it's close above him, and he looks a little wounded, looks a little confused, and then this sort of like just this tiny bit of a smile on his face, and I thought that's where it was. I thought it was just going to cut to black or whatever.
Same.
But then there's a last little like celebratory thing where all the characters from throughout the movie in their costumes come and dance and whatever.
Dance to the band.
Yeah. Alan
the
Price.
reunited Beatles that Lindsay Anderson got for this movie.
Yeah, the Beatles.
Pretty cool.
And usually when the movie ends with all the characters dancing, it's a bad sign. But in this case, it's quite funny.
It was great. They were all
Yeah.
like grooving out some 60s music. They're doing 60s dancing. You see young Malcolm McDowell, cutting a rug with young Helen Mirren.
Yeah.
It was infectious. I thought the ending was great. Like they could have ended it on that smile and it would have been perfect. This is just like a little bonus.
It's quite funny. Actually, the dancing. Yeah. This is a really good movie.
Like Malcolm McDowell, amazing performance. He's super comfortable on camera. It's different than, what you've seen from the snarky rebelliousness of If or the pure evil rebelliousness of A Clockwork Orange. You get to see him kind of play a naive man who wakes up to the kind of injustices of the world. Like one of the first thing he does on his journey is he comes across a car accident and the police tell him not to make a report so they can, because a truck with groceries like spilled out, so they're like going to steal the groceries ostensibly.
They're already holding groceries
while they're talking
and they're
to
like,
him.
well, you best not make a statement, because then you're implicated and we got to take you down and this and that. It's funny.
It is funny. And then you see him kind of like fancy himself like a bit of a businessman or whatever, and he thinks he's going to make moves and then just gets absolutely screwed. It's an interesting arc. It's like if the whole like last half of Clockwork Orange, where he's done the technique and he's just being brutalized by everyone he encounters, it's like if that was like a 3-hour movie but like more satirical and not as quite as like vicious as that was until the very end. But it's a great like young Helen Mirren is great.
Yeah, she's very funny.
She's awesome. Yeah. Great to see her. She's funny. The whole supporting cast. Some really weird set pieces.
I think some people might say it's anti-capitalist propaganda, but to them I'd say, why don't you have a propaganda Helen Mirren?
Take a propaganda those Tommy knockers.
Why don't you have a propaganda? That's how British people sound.
And it's still got some of that anger from If. There's one point where he just shows subtitles about like the statistics around the British prison system. You know,
it's an angry movie for sure.
It is.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's a nasty film.
The title's kind of ironic. I don't know if you picked up on that.
It might be. I'm not ready to say. I mean, we also just watched this together.
Yeah,
which was nice. I'm really glad we did. Yeah, because it's more fun to watch a movie like this with somebody.
Yes.
Because you're like, did that just happen? And you can look over to Alex, and Alex will be like, yeah, that just happened. Here's a brief screening note. I had a DVD of it, but ages ago, and lost the second DVD, which I assumed was special features. In fact, the film was split on 2 DVDs because it's long. So we weren't able to watch it that way. So I found a download of it. I brought it over on my computer, but we had an issue hooking it up. So eventually what we ended up doing was renting it legitimately, paying money, legitimate $5 Canadian to Google to watch it. And it looked great. So, maybe that's our lesson from Oh Lucky Man is like, maybe sometimes capitalism's good instead of stealing.
Give credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
Google came through.
Google saved the day.
Google saved the day.
Thank you, the Alphabet Company.
Yeah. How many? So if you have a drum of that toxic, poisonous
what's
chemical,
it called? Like PL45 or something?
Yeah. That contains 100 gallons of this stuff.
Yeah.
How many gallons out of 100 would you give this movie?
Woo! That's really interesting. I really did like this. At the moment, having just seen it and not having really sat with it or
We've
read
got
about
some
it,
recency bias.
I would probably give it 9 out of 100. Or 900. No, sorry, 90 out of 100
out of 100 gallons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I almost want to just throw caution to the wind and not give it the coward's 5.
I know. I so do I, but I can't. I can't yet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I do, and I want to watch it again too.
Yeah.
When you finish a 3-hour movie,
and
when you finish any movie, and you're like, one of your first thoughts is like, I would like to watch that again sooner rather than later. Yeah. Always a nice sign. Not always a good sign, but always nice. Sometimes you finish Amelia Perez and you're like, I have to
Rewind.
I'm going to watch that again to make sure that actually happened. I am not, by the way, I am not watching it again. Don't worry. I have better things to do.
Yeah, I guess I won't give it a Ben just did a jerk off motion. I guess I'll give it the Cowards 5 for now as well. But I really don't want to.
Then don't. You don't want to, then
It's
don't.
a very good movie.
Yeah, it is.
It's like for a road movie, for a 3-hour epic British social satire, like magical realist, but
musical.
also kitchen sinks realist musical
Sort of.
with some
Yeah.
some jam band moments.
Yeah.
It's a pretty awesome viewing experience.
Yeah, it's a really good movie.
Cowards 5.
Cowards 5.
But by the time I review it on Letterboxd, maybe I'll just give it a full 5.
Yeah, I know it's hard to say. I'd like to. We have a podcast. We can always talk about it later.
Yeah.
We
That's
can
true.
always talk about it on the next episode.
Amend.
Which is Britannia Hospital, by the way. If came out in 1968, this came out in 1973. Britannia Hospital is sometime in the 80s, early 80s.
Oh wow.
It's a bit more time has passed, so we'll see. I'm very curious to see that and what that's like and how it stacks up to these two. From what I understand, it's more similar to Oh Lucky Man, probably, but also I don't actually know. There's a British series of movies called the Carry On films, like Carry On This, Carry On That, whatever.
I've heard of those. Yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of want to see some of those because I know that these are elements of these, and maybe Britannia Hospital in particular is kind of poking fun at that. But then you have to actually watch them, and I don't know. I the one I heard is actually pretty decent is Carry On Screaming, which is the horror Halloween-y one of those.
Oh, fun.
I mean, those are the British movies that like you having a laugh, like that whole Ricky Gervais thing. I don't know, like really like silly stuff, you know.
Well, before we leave, I just wanted to check in with me, Da. Da, you got any opinions on the Oh Lucky Man movie? How'd you find the Oh Lucky Man?
Oh, you talking to me, son?
I.
Oi. Oh, Lucky Man. I've got another name for it. Oh, Scummy Man.
There it is, Da. That's it. Let's wrap it up.
There's a couple times where he's scummy. There's a couple times where there's a thick layer of scum right on him. Lick it off. Oh, you there. Oh, Da, I brought home. Okay, wait, hang on. Da, you know what? I don't want to work in the mines. I always wanted to be a Pokemon trainer, and I finally made good, and I finally catch me first Pokemon. All right, son, take him out of the bowl. Let's have a look at it.
Take him out of the bowl.
Here, Dad, it's a lick-a-tongue. Gulp, gulp. Oh, there, boy. Finally, a cure for me scum.
Lick the scum off me, bastard.
You
tits.
there, Pokey. Lick the scum off me ass. Is this what you wanted?
They call it.
You there, Pokey.
I just wanted you to say, "Oh, scummy man."
Oh, scummy man.
There it is.
Oh, what a scummy man he was. You know that song, right?
Yeah, that's how it goes. That's
Oh, what a scummy man he was. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, man.
You know?
Yeah. Arctic
Emerson, Lake and
Monkeys.
Palmer?
Oh.
Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
I thought you were saying that.
ELP.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That's how they were known.
I thought you were just horribly misspelling
Do you not?
Emerson.
Okay, sorry, hang on. Are you not aware of the works of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, the supergroup?
I'm very familiar with the works of Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Okay, name one of their songs. Don't name Lucky Man. I already said that. Name one song. Name one album.
Didn't they do September that always gets played at weddings? Do you remember?
What?
Very first time.
No.
I'm pretty sure that was them.
No, that's not them.
Check your facts.
No. Greg Palmer. Keith Emerson. Oh, no, wait.
Robert Palmer.
Greg Lake. No, wait. Robert Palmer. Laura
Arnold Palmer.
Don't I look just like Laura Palmer? But sometimes my arms bend back.
I got tickets to see the second night screening that they're going to do
Oh,
with
great.
Fire Walk With Me.
Yes, they did put another one out. That's awesome. Yeah.
Going to go collectively weep with a bunch of Lynch heads.
I certainly hope so. This is at the review coming up in February. They were already showing it on film, which is nice. It's probably the same print I saw last time I saw it, which was at U of T somewhere. I'm looking forward to that, but I do hope that it's like, well, this is the thing with Lynch screenings and any retrospective screenings, but especially of Lynch movies. Like, you always get a lot of people who go in and laugh at it, like they think they're better than it or whatever. And it's not that you can't laugh at a movie. Like, his movies are funny and they're weird, and laughter is a totally great normal response to them. But there's a certain type of like hipster kind of like, or it's not even hipster. It's like, it's just like stupid. Like, you know, they don't know how to react to something because the emotions are expressed in such like an intense way that they're the only response that you feel like is proper is to be like, haha, this is stupid.
Yeah.
This is so weird. And I really hope those people stay home. You know what I mean?
I hope you get your way and everyone sits in the theater quietly with their hands in their laps.
Yeah.
Crossed fingers, and just silently weep.
Yeah, this is the thing with Fire Walk With Me. When I saw Lost Highway at the Royal, like way back when, people were yucking it up the entire time. Okay, fair enough. It's a funny movie. A lot of the laughter was really annoying by the end of it, but like, okay, whatever. You know, it's goofier than some of his other movies. You know, it's not, you know, it's dark as it is. There's some silly stuff in it.
It still has some like real emotion behind it too. Like,
No doubt. Fire Walk With Me, I have seen it in the theater, and I might have been at the Royal too. And it was similar. The first chunk, especially the stuff with
David Bowie.
That whole beginning with Chester Desmond and the FBI and stuff, there were lots of laughs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when we get to Laura Palmer, you know, the gobble gobble turkey stuff, there's some stuff that people are laughing at. By the end of the movie, the last like 45 minutes of the movie were completely silent. People were like, oh my God, what have I been laughing at? You know what I mean? When the further it dips into like the passion of Laura Palmer, the final torture and days of Laura Palmer, people had shut the fuck up, and it was great. And so that experience I'm happy to have too. If people are yucking it up and then they're like, oh, this is actually really sad.
Disturbed into silence.
Yeah.
I'm
deranged.
It was a good reminder, you know, that at the core of the story, Twin Peaks was about like a horrible crime committed against a young, wayward soul.
Yeah, it's true. And then when you watch The Return, it further complicates that.
Yes.
to extremes you couldn't have imagined.
You know.
And I'm really excited to get to rewatch that again soon. I was already planning on it, but now it's become kind of a David Lynch in memoriam. And one of the great things about The Return is that his character Gordon Cole is a main character in the show.
That's true.
I would say, what has he got to be like? He's like the fourth or fifth lead of the show, basically, which is incredible. There's so much time with him, and he's such a great actor too in it that I'm really excited to get to spend time with our buddy David.
I think we all are. Yeah. But next week we'll be spending more time with our other buddy Mick Travis again. We'll see what he gets up to in a hospital this time.
Yeah. This is going to be great. When I do my unofficial Ben trilogy, that's people the Ben and Alex of 50 years from now are going to be like, well, you know, can't wait to see what Ben gets up to at a hotel. One last thing I wanted to say is that this movie, the beginning part anyway, which is the sales part, really did remind me of Benny Business.
Oh, some flashbacks. Probably.
Benny Hospitality has been the persona for a long time, but people forget. Before
you got to remember
that,
where you started.
You got to remember who you are. Yeah,
Benny Demolition.
Business. Yeah, more like Benny No Job. Benny No Job for a while. Can't forget those days.
Benny No Job for a while.
Benny No Job for on and off for a long time. Yeah. Yeah. What do you do all day? People would ask me that. They would say, "What do you do all day?" And you know, I wouldn't tell them with words. I just do this. Just really furious, like.
You know what he's doing. You know what he's doing.
And what a scummy man.
Just give him half a chance, I bet he'll rob you if he can. Can see it in his eyes, yeah, that he's got a driving ban amongst some other offences.
So cruise me, baby, on.